Please welcome Michael Lastoria.
So it wasn't my food that put you in a coma. You can blame Kava for that. So when thinking about, no, Kava is a great partner, a great community staple here. Happy to have them, as well as LaCroix, not based in DC, but drink as much as you can. Stuff's really good. We just started serving it at Pizza, which is really cool. So thank you guys for having me. How's everybody feeling today? Okay. So I think maybe a little bit of Pete's coffee, right? Social justice in a cup would be good for everybody. So I've been an entrepreneur for the better part of my life. I started my first company at 22 years old, and I think one of the really cool things about being up here today is, as an entrepreneur, you rarely get the opportunity to, build a company that's based on your core values, and then, seeing some success, as a result of living by those core values, gaining some market share, and creating an even bigger platform that gives us a voice to allow me and the company to talk up about the things that matter the most to us, and social justice is one of those things. For those of you that don't know Pizza, which I'm sure there are some of you in the room, we were founded in 2012, just a couple stones throw away in Washington, D.C.'s historic 8th Street Northeast corridor. Since that time, and this was 2012, so in 5 short years, we've grown to 21 restaurants we call pizza shops. And we're going to be opening up our 22nd shop in New York City in just under 2 weeks. So super excited about the growth, but it can be directly attributed to, certainly the food has to be good, so our craft pizza and craft beverages, but a lot of our success has been contingent on the work that we've done in the communities we serve through our And Charity arm. So if you get it right, And Charity, And Pizza, there's more to come with that. And then also through hyper-localization of design. So every shop that we design is basically structured to integrate both thoughtfully and gracefully into the communities that we serve. And then most importantly, the strength and unity of our living wage paid tribe members, who we call our employees. One of the things that we do, you'll see behind us, is we have sort of a dictionary definition of And Pizza. Number one, because people really have a hard time pronouncing it. I'm sure those of you that have stumbled across And Pizza, whether it was the best version of yourself at noon or the worst version of yourself at 3 a.m., this thing gets mispronounced like you wouldn't believe. So I'll start off by saying the ampersand to us represents diversity, unity, and connectedness. And I think that particular symbol is increasingly more important as our country and world is becoming increasingly more divided. Right? So we kind of exist to bring people together. But what we do every 90 days, because like human beings, we're constantly changing, right? Through life's experiences, we're learning, we're growing, we're adapting. I think the same goes for brands. And so we change the description of And Pizza every 90 days. Sometimes it's just fun, and sometimes it's really hard hitting. So some of my favorites up there, you'll see Swagger House. That's when we rolled out our new line of And Swag, which I'm wearing right now. You'll see Social Eatery, which is more relevant today, and things like Pizza Turnt and Locals Only. So you'll see this in our email signatures, and you'll see this in some of our shops. But again, just a really interesting way for us to talk based on sort of today, snapshot of where the company is and sort of how we describe ourselves. So in January, we came out with our first brand statement. So after 4.5 years, we decided to put sort of some pillars or anchors in the ground. Before that, it was just a mission statement. Our mission statement was to live our core values, right? And we had 4 core values that defined us. And those core values really spoke to who we were as people and what we believed in. And so the brand statement was more about, as a company, what are the things that we're willing to consistently invest in and double down in and go all in. And so the 4 that we have that I'm showing you right now are Tribe First, which is going to be the main sort of focal point of the speech, Clean Eats, Little Giants, and Cultivate Creativity. Another really cool one is Little Giants. It's a phrase that we coined, which basically we partner with small, like-minded brands who are doing big things in their communities. Probably our biggest Little Giant is actually Milk Bar, and Christina Tosi is going to be here to talk to you guys in a little bit. She's unbelievable, been an incredible partner, and we made some really cool cereal milk cream soda and a cereal milk cream soda cookie. So if you haven't had it, go to And Pizza and get it. And that, by the way, will give you the sugar high that you need to get through the afternoon. So why do we call our employees tribe members? So a tribe, thanks to Seth Godin, who helped coin this phrase, is a group of people connected to one another, connected to a leader, and ultimately, connected to a purpose. And so this sort of purpose-driven connectivity with our tribe members has led us to create what we call a tribe-first culture. And you're seeing a good mix of our tribe members that represents everybody wearing the ampersand proudly and what it stands for. And I think it's safe to say that the culture of anything, right, the culture of a thing, is the sum of its ingredients. And standing in front of you today, I can tell you that in our business, in most businesses, the ingredients are absolutely the people, right? The people that work for the company. And those people who devote their time, their energy, their effort, right, and their life force, they want more than just a job, right? And we talked about career development. I can tell you right now as an employer, people don't even want careers, right? They want something that they can believe in. And I think as this country is becoming increasingly less religious, which isn't that popular to say, I think brands are stepping in and taking over some of that religion, giving people something to look up to, right? And brands that do things the right way can be wildly inspiring. So the way that we're able to do this is we take a page out of Danny Meyer's book, Enlightened Hospitality. There's this concept in the restaurant space, I know it applies to a number of businesses, that the customer is always right. Now, as a leader, it's impossible for me to look in the face of the people that come to work for the brand every single day and tell them the customer is always right. Right? And I can tell you at 3:30 in the morning, the customer is not always right. And so the way that we think about it is, we want to provide amazing service, right? We want the experience to be elevated consistently. We all want you feeling really good walking in and out of the pizza shops. And so instead of making the customer first, we put our employees, we put our tribe members first. And we give them the tools, right, through both personal and professional development to empower them through ownership in the company, right, to make the types of decisions that we all would make if we had a real stake, right, in the ground or in the game. And so what that allows them to do, it allows them to treat, right, their shops as if they own them. It allows them to make decisions about what is that right customer experience in my shop that's going to define this shop, right, and lead to long-term sustainability. And if that works, right, our tribe serves our guests serve the neighborhood partners and partners are shareholders. And the really cool thing about that is it's always fun to put finance people last, but it's also very rewarding, because if this cycle works, I can tell you that the shareholders will see a sustainability and a staying power that is rarely found in the consumer space, be it in restaurant or retail. And so we really stand by this philosophy that our employees are a brand, right? Their actions determine whether or not a guest becomes a real ambassador, or a detractor. And based on the success that we've had as an organization, right, very little to do with, right, a business owner or the magical genius of the ideas that we think we can create, and it's all about the execution of that idea on a day in and day out basis. That execution comes through our tribe members and our people putting their best foot forward and going all in on this company, which has created a really cool platform for us to focus as a company on social justice. So what you're seeing behind me, that's a pizza box that we created pre-election. And despite the turnout, we distribute over 1 million of these boxes between Northern Virginia and Philadelphia. And the idea there was just to encourage, right, a lot of our guests, right, who tend to be younger, right, to get out and vote because their voice is heard. And even before that, we've been doing a lot to fight for the increase of a federal minimum wage. Now, I'm not a huge advocate of government running interference on small business. That being said, big business has proven over and over again that they just won't do the right thing, and they'll take advantage of a system that's flawed and pay people the absolute minimum if that means they can increase and improve in the short-term shareholder value. For those of you that don't know, the restaurant industry employs 10% of America's workforce. 10%. And many of my colleagues don't believe in fair pay. They don't believe in an increased federal or local minimum wage. And I think very differently. And so my job, right, as a business owner is to build a case study that suggests that they've got it wrong and we've got it right. And I'll show you some numbers later on in this presentation that tell you exactly that. But the thesis is this, right? Simple but critical concept. right? Allow your employees to thrive, or your staff to thrive, and your business will thrive. We want our people to feel appreciated, engaged, and supported. You'll see Kiana Hicks, who was a tribe member that got promoted to leadership within 12 months of her joining the company. Right? She's standing in front of the mayor's podium when the mayor signed the local legislation to increase the minimum wage here in Washington, D.C. to $15. Right? She did that, the mayor did that outside of Man Pizza, given all of the work that we've done in terms of fighting for this with Business for a Fair Minimum Wage and the Fight for 15. In the center, you'll see Jason Harmon, a tribe member who's now been promoted into support, which we call corporate, with former Secretary of Labor Tom Perez. Right, Tom Perez is now the chair of the DNC. Tom has spent time actively with Ann Pizza, right, trying to help understand what is this company doing, how are they able to take care of their people and have an economically viable business that's growing rapidly throughout the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast. And the last image you'll see, I introduced a bill 2 weeks ago on the Hill, the Raise the Wage Act. And that was the reintroduction of a bill that keeps getting punted. And the idea of that is the federal $15 by 2024. And I introduced that bill with Senator Pelosi, Senator Schumer, and one of my favorites, the Sandman, Senator Bernie Sanders. I got Bernie really fired up. Him and I were just bringing the house down. So some really cool stuff they're doing. But when you talk about culture, the importance of culture, think about what it means when your tribe members or your employees are sitting there watching this company that they put their life force into doing good not only by its people, but making a stance in an industry that's vehemently against this change. Right? People don't like me because I stand up here and I say, you can make a lot of money, you can have tremendous success, you just got to take care of your people, you've got it backwards. And so when they see this, they get to go home to their friends and their family and say, I am working for a company that gives a damn. And that makes them feel really good. They feel connected emotionally to a brand in a way that they've never felt before. And they've built that trust back with companies, right, in corporate America in a way that I think is wildly healthy and good. And so what we've done is we've turned Ann Pizza into something our tribe is proud to be a part of, right? That stands for something more than just output and profitability, but says something about what we believe in as people, right? No different than the clothing we wear or the music we listen to, right? Our brand has been an accessory. People walking down the street with that weird shaped box, right, that changes every 90 days in terms of its design, they know they're supporting something that's doing good. They feel really good about that. And as a result of that, over 75 of our tribe members have gotten the ampersand tattooed on them. Over 75 and growing. We have about 4 to 5 every single month. So 4 years ago, one of our tribe members came to me and said, Michael, I absolutely love this brand. It's changed my life. I want to get the ampersand tattooed on me. I thought about it for a minute. Is that a really bad idea? And I was like, no, you know what? I'll foot the bill. So twice a month, we foot the bill. We have tribe members do that. And it wasn't because we wanted people to sign their allegiance, right, to the brand like some crazy, insane dictator. It was because we listened to our people. They loved the symbol. They loved what it stood for. And more importantly, felt a connection to it. Also, the amazing thing is all of you in the audience, right? It's not just the work that we're doing. Consumers are getting smart. And they're not going to stop getting smarter. Dollars are shifting to businesses that are there to serve the community, not the other way around. That is powerful. So whether we're successful or not about getting that increase in the federal minimum wage, you ultimately are making the choice. When you spend dollars with companies that are doing good, and there are plenty of them here regionally and there are plenty nationally, you are telling corporate America that that is the future. And you know what will make them pay attention? When their sales are down and their profits aren't there, then they're going to start to do it. It happened with food, supply chain, sustainability. Right? McDonald's is all of a sudden becoming healthy. Why? Not because they want to. They're becoming healthy because they have to. So if you start supporting businesses that take care of people, I can promise you very quickly they will change how they think about wage. A couple of slides, and I'll end with this, but as a result of how you are spending your dollars, we have one of the most attractive economic models in the industry. Our sales per square foot rival that of Shake Shack and are higher than Chipotle. In addition to that, we have some of the highest contribution margins you've seen. And pizza won't stop. As we get bigger, as we grow, we will continue to leverage our platform to do the right thing. And the only thing that I ask in return as we do this is that you, as customers and consumers, spend your money with companies that really give a damn. Thank you.
Michael, thank you so much. That was really inspiring. And for those of you who are trying to ask questions on social Q&A, we are having some technical difficulties.
Ooh.
Please bear with us. But I can actually get the questions from those who are watching online.
Oh, you can?
I can. And the first one is a doozy. So the first one is, how do you come to use the word tribe? Do you receive pushback for cultural appropriation?
No, we don't. And I think a lot of it has to do with, finding an internal language. And I think a lot of it was helpful is that I didn't come up with the word tribe, right? I was for many years and still am a big Seth Godin fan. And so he talks a lot about this idea of tribe. And so I think it's very different than the tribal set of tribe. But I haven't had any pushback or anybody say, hey, maybe that word isn't appropriate.
10% of restaurant workers are undocumented immigrants. How is And Pizza standing up for the sanctuary restaurant movement?
So, we only hire people that have papers. I think when you're a smaller restaurant company, you oftentimes have the ability to be a little bit more flexible in terms of your employment policies. And so we kind of have a little bit of line in the sand where you have to have your papers to get a job. That being said, I do think it's worth noting that the backbone of the restaurant industry is run and really driven by many undocumented immigrant workers that have done a fantastic job, that work their tail off in the back of the house, many in the kitchens, that just absolutely are the pulse of many great restaurants that we support. So we really need to think long and hard about how we treat those people and make sure they have a fair shot at real long-term employment and career paths.
What are some management techniques that you have used to keep your employees engaged, and do you have low turnover?
Yeah,
with that kind of that tattoo, you kind
once
of
you get a tattoo, you got to think twice about, am I going to stay or am I going to go? No, we are constantly trying new things. I recently, brought in a psychologist that has spent, a better part of the last 2 decades helping youth transition into early adulthood to really help us rethink our training programs and training materials to come up with new ways so that, because we call it the path. And so we are always looking at how do you get somebody from tribe member to certified trainer to shift leader to assistant shop leader and leader. And my goal is to get as many people that are part-time and hourly to full-time and salary so they can get the benefits that really give them the staying power and the flexibility. And so we're looking at using psychologists, we're looking at rewriting training programs, consistently investing as we get more money. We build a bigger and bigger and bigger training department. Our HR department is among the bigger, and we have relatively low turnover rates, especially at leadership, and our company is disproportionately full-time. So we have about 65% of our workforce is full-time compared to most of the restaurant industry where sub 20% is basically full-time, and it's mostly part-time labor.
Okay. How do you define paying your employees a living wage? Was it hard to convince stakeholders to do this?
So the good news is, we haven't taken on private equity or venture capital. We have raised over $40 million in debt and equity from high net worth individuals. The key for me is bake it into your DNA. So do it from the get-go and prove profitability and sustainable economics, and that way no one's ever going to question you. So for me, it's a showstopper. Part of investing in this company is that you believe in a tribe-first culture, go back to the brand statement and go back to our core values. That is a minimum. And the nice thing is we have the flexibility not to be hat in hand and grow just for growth's sake. We can grow as fast or as slow as we want to, and we're only going to grow as fast as having the right money into the company, not just any money.
How much do you pay per hour?
So we generally pay about $2 above the minimum, state by state or jurisdiction by jurisdiction.
And how do you hire? Like, how can I apply?
Yeah, so we get between 50 to 100 resumes a day now, which is a really good thing, but also a really sad thing, right? Because I really want to employ everybody. We have a process where you can apply online very easily. You'll be sent a link to be interviewed via a video, and we have a really cool technology that you can log into and see all of the interview candidates. If that works out, you'll be invited to a shop. You'll get interviewed there. If that works out, you'll be invited back to the corporate office, which is our support center, and we do auditions. So you'll do everything from singing and dancing.
Wow.
So on and so forth. It's kind of complicated.
Yeah, one of the questions is this a cult? It doesn't sound like a cult. It sounds like a theater company.
I'll go with that.
Yeah.
I'll go with that. Thank you for saving me on that one.
Yeah, no problem. How diverse is your leadership team and tribe?
Yeah, I mean, we have one of the most diverse staff.
Well, what does that mean?
Well, I mean,
Because people say they're like, oh, we're really diverse, and they've got like 2 women. So like, what does that mean?
yeah, it's good. It's good. Yes. We have more than 2 women.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we have more than 2 women. No, I mean, I think
That third hire is
Yeah.
always the
from gender
Yeah.
to ethnicity. I mean, if you walk into one of our shops, and I think you will see, we actually have more female workers than we do male in our shops. And we have more minority workers than we do the opposite. So I think, the opposite, right? It's a good.
That's good, yeah.
I'm going to use the opposite.
Yeah, that's a good one, I like
But it's something that's very important. I mean, we make a point to talk about this consistently because, again, it's not just about lifting up one segment or one sector. It's about everybody getting a fair chance. And I think our cities, in many cases, and that's a lot of where our growth is going, need some of the most help, right? Giving people second chances, being there, and being really committed to developing. Like the one thing that I've done is I've orchestrated our restaurants. You don't really need to know how to work in a restaurant to work in an Ant Pizza. All you need to do is come with the right attitude. I can teach you the rest. And so we do give people oftentimes second chances. We have a great relationship with DC Central Kitchen. We are always
They're great.
looking for an opportunity to grow and develop people that didn't expect it. And I can tell you there's some of the most loyal people that will take a
Right.
bullet for you because no one else was able to do that for them.
Right. Well, thank you for doing the work that you do with an open heart, open
course.
mind, and open eyes, I think is really important. Thank you so much,
Thank
Michael
you.
Lastoria of And
Thank you, guys.
Pizza.